Okay, so I guess we'll start by taking all the parts out of the box first. I like to work on a table, lay everything out in front of me, handlebars. Okay. That's what I was looking for. Our manual. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do this step by step. We'll follow the manual as per the instructions. And I'll also call out the fasteners and other parts and pieces as per the manual as we need them. So, I guess we'll go to step one. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the hand grips on the handlebars. Typically I like to have a little bit of a lubricant, either like a little Vaseline or something, a little bit of grease of some sort, just to get them started. Don't use too much of it because you don't want the handles to come off after you put them on. Just a little bit, just a little tiny bit at the end here, just to get it started. It'll help get this thing slide all the way on for you. So. There you go, like that. Grease. You can use lithium or, even just some type of a grease of any sort, but I've got Vaseline here. It seems to work really nice. So we've got the handlebars together. So we're going to lay those out the way they're going to get attached. So that's part C5 and H9, and then we're going to take part C4, this part. All right. Put all our fasteners here. So we can get this stuff all laid out somewhat organized. It's all there. Okay, then we're going to grab assembly C9. That's our gate control. That's right here. And fastener H5. We're going to put it through the handlebar. Through here. It's a little tricky, but you got to hold. You can hold it all together. And then get a nut on that to hold it. Just finger tight that. Another screw. Do the second one. Second nut. Okay, so that's step one. That's complete assembly of step one. So we can tighten that up. When you're tightening this stuff, I mean, get it tight, reasonably tight. You don't have to over crank it. Okay, step 1 is done. And step 1.1. Okay, so we're going to put this lower linkage now together. I'm going to get your legs, part C11, and subassembly C16. You're going to grab 2 fasteners, both H5s, all right? You're going to want to make sure that this is oriented correctly with this pivot point toward the end right here, okay? Don't put it on like this or like this. You want it like this, just like that, okay? So take your screw, put it through the leg, and through your frame, and the other leg. I'm going to put a nut on there. Just finger tight, okay? Other screw through the frame, another nut, finger tight. Okay, so at this point, just leave these finger tight right now, maybe even a little bit looser. It'll make the rest of the frame assembly a little bit easier. So that's step 1.1. Step 2. Okay, we're going to grab this part of the frame. And that goes in between like this. And then we're going to line this up like so. These holes at the top here. Right. So again, we grab, it is screw H5 again. So this upper hole, it gets lined up with this upper hole. A nut on that. And again, just leave all this stuff finger tight. You don't have to tighten any of this yet. You just want to get it all assembled first. All right. And then we're going to grab, this is part C18. Okay. It's just a rod threaded at either end. Going to grab 1 fastener, H10, brackets, C12, and our spacer bar, which is C18. So these get placed between the forks. So to make that a little bit easier, pop these forks up. That should balance okay, like so. All right. You want to make sure that this jog is facing me this way. So this goes in this way, and the jog goes out, and just the opposite on the other side. So we're going to put our screw in here. Put our bracket over it, and then thread the spacer bar on. It's tapped at both ends. And again, just get this stuff all finger tight. Don't have to tighten it too much.
We're in the wrong spot. I think this goes here. Right?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
How's the,
That goes over there like that.
no, but isn't the gearbox right here?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you know better than I do. It just doesn't seem like that would work.
That's how it goes.
Okay.
Other bracket, again, jog is out. Outbound side, it jogs out. So this one might be a little trickier. Another H10. So you got to line these 2 holes up in line with this. Put the fastener all the way through, all of them. This takes a little bit, but that's why we didn't tighten these up when we started. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had that play to be able to fit this stuff in here like this. So that accommodates that. All right. Then a couple of more H10s. And then we're going to bring these to the outside of the tube. through. Put that through. Couple of nuts. Okay, so there's your frame assembly. Pretty much done. Now you can tighten it all up. Grab our 10mm setup. And we'll get this all tightened up. Again, you don't have to over tighten all of this stuff, but just get it nice and snug. And the truth is, and you can tighten it until you start crushing things, and you don't need to do that. So there you have it. There's your frame. All done. You completed step 2. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our gearbox, which is assembly C3, right here, and our impeller, part number C2. And that just goes over the top here. Okay. Now there's 2 sets of holes. Ignore the top one for this assembly, and then there's 2 holes in the impeller, one in the bottom and one in the top. So this was designed so that the bottom holes in both would line up together. So get those lined up, and you grab fastener H12, which is a very little small Phillips head. Get that started by hand. Okay, just get a couple of threads started by hand. Grab your Phillips head screwdriver, snug it down. So I'll just tell you this just in case this happens. Sometimes, every once in a great while, the impeller may be a little bit too high in the frame, and as it's spinning, you may hit something on the bottom. If that's the case, you can always take this screw out, slide your impeller down to this top hole so that it lines up with this bottom hole, and reattach it. Okay, so that's step 3. Step 4, we're going to mount the axle, the drive axle, on the gearbox into the frame. So you're going to need your drive shaft. And you got to be careful which way this goes in. There's a hole close to the end in one end, no hole close to the end in the other. So you want to have this oriented correctly. So we're going to then grab our bushings, which are parts H11. All right? The bushings have one tall rib on them, which lines up with a little notch here that keeps the bushing from spinning. So these get assembled from the outsides. You put one in this way. Again, the orientation's critical. That one taller rib you want to have go right through this little notch right here. There you go, just like that. All right. We're going to take our axle, and again, it's important which way you put it through. You're going to want to put it through this small hole here at the end. We're going to want to put it in this way. And it's important which way you put the gearbox on, because we want it to spin counterclockwise when we're rolling this thing along. So for that to happen, we're going to make sure that the counterclockwise on the box is, this is the front, that's going to be at the front. So that's going to be your orientation right there. Not like this, like this. Okay? So let's put our axle through. Goes through our gearbox. Into the other bushing. All right. Now you see there's a hole here. You're going to bring that over. And there's a hole in your gearbox. I'm going to want to line those up, because that's how we hold our gearbox to our drive shaft. All right. So now this is the only fastener that's different size-wise from everything else. And also it has a nut that's referred to as a nylock. You can really only get this threaded on, maybe a thread or two at the most by hand, only because it gets so difficult to thread it on there. The reason for that is it's got a nylon insert in it, and that way it can't back off. So the chances of it falling out once you put it on are practically none. So anyhow, take that screw, put it through the hole here, which, if you'd like to see that, it's right there. Okay, right there. And we're going to take our nut, that nylock nut. We're just going to get it started on there, because that's all we can do. Maybe a thread, if that, maybe a thread or two. Okay, so just get that started. Then we grab our 8mm setup here, and we're going to tighten that up. It takes a little more effort to do this one, only because you can only get the screw on there a certain distance. Let's make sure that's tightening. Yeah. Oops. All right, just get that snug. All right, so there you go. That's step number 4. Actually, step 4 and 5. Step 4 was putting it all together. Step 5 was putting the fastener, or 4.1, I mean, was putting in the fastener. Okay, so step 5. I'm gonna put the wheels on. Okay. So the wheels are a little different. You want to make sure that your nipple here is on the outside always. Anyhow, so this side, the wheel's just going to float on the axle, and the other side is going to be your driving wheel. So just slide that on there. Okay. We take this one now. This end of the axle, there's another mounting hole. And you can see there's a mounting hole in your wheel. So you're going to get those lined up. And you're going to grab fastener H4 as per step 5.1. That would be this one. You're going to put it through there. All right. And you can see that's your driving wheel. See, that drives your impeller. Okay. I'm going to put the nut on there. And you can tighten that right up. So you grab your 10mm setup. All right, so when you grab that, I'm going to give that a tighten. Now let's turn that around a little bit. All right. Okay, so that's your driving wheel. That's on there now. On the other end, we're just going to hold on with our washer and our cotter pin. Turn that. Okay. You see the small hole right there? So you put the washer over it. Drop your cotter pin in, grab your trusty pliers, and grab the long end of the cotter pin here. And what you can do is you can grab your driving wheel now to give you a little torque here, and turn that, so it makes it a little easier to bend your cotter pin. Grab the other end, bend it, turn it the other way. Now that won't fall out. That's your floating wheel. Okay? So now you got your wheels on. That completes step 5.1 and 5.2. Okay, so next up we're going to put on the hopper. I like to put it on the floor to do this. So we got to take our impeller, have our impeller shaft, got to line up with this hole here. Now you can't really drop this straight on because your adjustment lever is going to hit your frame. So when you do this, you got to just turn it a little bit to get that down past the frame. So bring this up, get those lined up, okay, and then just turn it. There you go. Now it's sitting in the frame, nicey nice, just like it's supposed to. Okay, so we're going to grab, you should have 3 H5 fasteners left, okay? And you're going to line up the holes in the hopper with the holes in the frame. Drop that in there. And each one, put a nut on it. It's just finger tight for now, not too far. Put a nut on, and your last one. Drops right in. And then your nut. Just finger tight. Okay? Get those all finger tight. Okay, so grab your 10mm setup again. Now you want to be careful when you're tightening these down. You know, if you think about it, you're tightening plastic against steel. I mean, you could tighten these until you literally crush the plastic, but you don't need to do that. You just want to get them snug, and once you get them snug, they'll stay right there. So, get those tightened up. And you can feel it when it's starting to get a little tight. And again, you don't have to overdo it. You can feel it when it's starting to grab. Maybe give it a couple of extra turns, and that's it, right there. All right, there you go. Now your hopper's on there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our auger in. Take your auger, and it just threads onto the end. All right, just till it drops. Now what you can do is, again, you can grab your driving wheel, because that's got the whole system locked in, and just give it a little snug. You don't have to crank on it, but just snug it a little bit. Grab one of your nuts, put it over the top. All right, grab your 10mm socket. Now this is important. Hold on to the auger itself when you go to tighten this. And that way you can get a pretty decent tighten on that. And that'll assure that it doesn't back off when you run this thing backwards. There you go, there's your auger. Okay. Okay, so we're going to grab our linkage arm. That's part number C7, step 8. We're going to take and put it through the hole. Pull it all the way through until it just hangs, all right? And then we're going to put our nut on the end there. Oh, no, here, that's backwards. Put it like this. With the washer part facing toward the end. Bring it almost all the way to the top there, all right? And then you're going to put these together, all right? Then grab a second nut and put it on the other side. Okay? There you go, like that. All right. Another linkage arm, right there. And we're going to take and we're going to put that through the hole and then turn it so that it hangs just like that. All right. And then we're going to go underneath here. And here's our gate control that opens and closes our gate, right? And there's a hole in that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just move that just a little bit and drop that into that hole. See? Now your linkage will pull that open and closed. All right, and to keep that there, we have a little R clip, which is this part. Okay. So we're going to put that in, and we're just going to put it through the hole here. Now you want to be careful when you put it in that you only put it in up until that position right there. You don't want to push it all the way in so that the loop is hanging on there. You just want to put it in just like that. And that's good. It'll stay there just like that, and that'll keep that from coming out of there. Okay. Okay. Did that. That's the two ends, that's the back guard. We'll keep the back guard on last. We'll skip ahead to step 11 right now, and that's where you actually adjust the gate. Okay, so you're going to want this to open and close. So when this is in the closed position, you're going to want this all the way closed, and when this is all the way open, you're going to want this all the way open. So the way you achieve that is, first off, you make sure that the gate is all the way closed. So you pull on this, so you can see there it's closed, right? You push on it, it opens, you pull on it, it closes. So you want to pull on that. And then you want to make sure that this arm here is all the way in the closed position also, okay? So now both parts are in the closed position. So with it, like that, bring these nuts down until they just touch the bracket, okay? That assures that your handle's closed, your gate's closed, and now this is in the correct position, and now you can just tighten these down. With a 10mm wrench, I like to do a little tighten, maybe a quarter turn on one side, quarter turn on the other. That make sure you tighten them both the same amount so you don't move anything. Just get those cinched on there really nice, locked up, okay? That's it. Now your gate's adjusted. That's closed, gate's closed. That's all the way open, gate's all the way open, all right? There you go. Now these are to open and close the side vents, okay? So let's open that up, and I can show you from the top. This will help you control your spread pattern. All right. Okay, so I guess that's it. It's fully assembled. The only thing that's left is the back baffle, and that just goes on like so. Snap that onto the frame on one side. Snap it onto the frame on the other, and there you go. You're all done.